Hey Saber fam, so got a DV6 for you today. Surprise, it's not a Profi install. Profi, whatever. This is the Corbanth DV6, and you have two switches down here, both of which act as activation. This has a Nano V3. White flash on flash. It's running a. Let me just turn it off. That's actually pretty darn loud. Has a red white LED with a Nano V3. So it doesn't have that great motion sensing that the V4 has, but it's still not bad. I mean, you're not going to get anything like that. Gotta break that gate. Now, this is the default settings. You can fine-tune a little bit more, but this has a Sorok Sabres chassis from Robert C. Sotomayor. There's the board. It's got a Veco speaker and a nice little crystal reveal on the back side. So that is wired up to the deep sleep pad. So after about 5 minutes or so, that will shut off. And it's no animation whatsoever whenever it's on, just because it's a Nano. You can actually see it's just a 3mm LED shining through into that. You can see it back there. But that is a genuine quartz crystal, real quartz, kind of shaved down the edges to where it fit in there. It's a good press fit. It's not going anywhere. And I mean, even, there's a little bit of tape down here covering the bottom termination of it, but you want to wrap it around for the board, of course. But this is a really good eco chassis, I'm not gonna lie. And oh yeah, recharge port, of course. So since this is default, now I will say this, installing this compared to a Profi, it was a dream. I'm not even gonna lie. It's just nothing had to be done to the board. Nothing. I've gotten so used to Profi that this pretty much spoiled me. It's just, Profi, you have to program the board, you have to put the fonts on there, you have to, even just wiring from the battery negative to the ground, just the SD card gets power. You don't even have to do that, and they're all just right there. And just like, okay, run all my wires, install the LED, make the modifications because it's a Corbanth. Every single Corbanth needs modifications to some one way or another. Never fails. Even on the other Corbanth that I did for the same guy, of course it needed modifications because it's Corbanth. It just makes the install better. For instance, let me put a blade in this bad boy. For instance, on this one, now I'm drawing a blank on modifications that were needed. Oh yeah, LED retention for one. Actually, I think that's really about it. The DV6 was actually pretty solid. I don't know if the tip came painted for the customer or the customer did that himself, but this takes a 7/8 inch blade. This is a blade that I made from the custom saber shop. I just, sanded it down, put some diffusion film in it, threw a tip on there. It's really quite easy to make the blades from the custom saber shop. And there's of course a base flare down here because that's where the LEDs are the brightest. But the tip, not bad. Good illumination through and through. And the default fonts on the V3, I believe that was dark meat, and this is light meat. It's got a good ignition. This is blade retention is both knurled knob and the eye. You can have one or the other if you want. Me personally, I usually shave this glass eye down on the threading. That way it sits flush because there's not really any grip on that glass eye. It's the knurled knob. It's a lot easier to get a good grip on. And I like it when it sits flush too. But the light meat swings are terrible. That's just... They're so... I guess the best way to say it would be minuscule. It's very... pretty much deaf. Whereas dark meat... This is either dark meat or gray meat. I'm pretty sure it's dark because, you want dark and light. And then the V4 introduced gray meat on there. But customizing sound fonts will be entirely up to the customer. Got the blade plug that came with it. I made sure that it was no modifications needed to be made to the blade plug because I get the blade or the LED depth correct. Really down to pat. So, as far as this replica goes, it's a good replica. Don't get me wrong, it's got a good weight to it. It's heavy. Of course the T-grips are like the most ungodly gripping mechanism known to man, but the nostalgia is there in such a way. I've always loved the look of the T-grips so much that extra core bent T-grips that I have, I like to put on MHS parts. It just looks great. Even on like replica Graflexes, it just looks awesome. I don't know what it is about them. So much nostalgia there. Even the MPP I did. I like this hilt a lot overall. I'd love to see somebody else come out with some better functioning DV6s, like the ROTJ Vaders. One thing that I don't like about this one is these little knobs here. I used E6000 to hold them in place, but there's literally no way around it. You have to glue those in place. Unless, somebody got fancy with it and ended up, complete, because there's like a little knob on the back that sinks in, and then you glue around the outer lip and put it in. And I used E6000, so you can get them out like by getting an Allen head that'll fit that, twisting it to loosen up the bond and going in there with the Allen head and pushing it out. But such a pain in the ass. I feel like there could be a way to make those, like, for lack of a better term, threaded. There we go. I was about to say screwable, but that might be misconstrued. I feel like you could do that and be able to remove the upper section fairly easy, considering these are your switches. And you could probably make them hollow to where you could get some cool shine through in there, which I would like to see that personally. But then your LED module would have to sit like way down in here, or if you did NeoPixel, you could just have an extra strip. That'd be cool, right? Have a Profi install where you have the cycle up command on a separate string of LEDs. Have your NeoPixel module like in this section. That way you still get a lot of blade depth and you get the shine through here, but have like a string of LEDs wrapped around here. That way you'd see it cycle up whenever the blade turns on. That'd be pretty cool. I thought about doing that with the Corbanth DV6 that I had a while back, but ended up just saying screw it. Didn't want it permanently. So sold it and the blade, but yeah. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Of course, the D-ring is not dialed in correctly. I left it as is for the customer. If he wants to shave it down to that length, pretty sure he could get by with some sandpaper. But I know that usually whenever you go to sanding something threaded like this, you want to thread both the male and the female end, which that would not be copacetic with these grips. I'll put it that way. But hats off to Robert Sotomayor for his chassis. He's been putting out some really good chassis designs. I really like this chassis because I was trying to think if I used a set screw. No. Yeah, I used E6000 on this as well. So the reason I use E6000 on the chassis, because you can still remove it. Like, I could twist this off right now and there wouldn't be any damage to the chassis. It would still be removable for work. I did the same thing with the MPP that I'm also going to upload today. And plus, who doesn't like a fixed chassis? I mean, really. There's none of that crappy wobbling around. I mean, don't have to worry about shaking your chassis out just to get to the recharge port. Just take off the grip section. Looks way better. More functional too. But, on to the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Until the next time, may the force be with you always.